Hello, and welcome to the Northern Kentucky University Career Services workshop on preparing for fall career fairs. This video is brought to you by Career Services. Our office is in the University Center, room 225. We've listed our email address as well as our phone number there so that you know the best way to contact us. So, the first question you may be asking is, what is a career fair? A career fair is an opportunity for students to network with employers and learn about employment opportunities that they have. These can be full-time positions as well as co-ops or internships. The next question you may be asking is, why should I attend career fairs? Career fairs allow you to unlock career possibilities by talking with employers, which is one of the reasons why you should attend the career fair. So we're now going to talk about the 4 fairs that we have coming up this semester. The first one that we have is Meet the Firms, which is an accounting-only fair. It's going to be on Friday, September 15th from 2 to 4 in the SU Ballroom. And the reason why it's an accounting-only fair is because all the employers are going to be there are accounting firms. STEM Health Fair is the next one that we have. It's going to be held on Wednesday, September 27th from 2 to 5 for healthcare and STEM-related organizations. So I myself, as a communication studies major, which typically can be seen as not very related to STEM or healthcare. But if I were interested in something like customer service or retail for any of the healthcare centers, like, for example, St. Elizabeth, I would be more than welcome to attend the STEM Health Fair. The next fair that we have is Career Connections. It's going to be on Thursday, September 28th from 2 to 5 in the SU Ballroom. There are different industries that are going to be there, such as banking, sales, retails, etc. Keep in mind that these are industries and not majors. And so, for example, if you're a psychology major but want to find jobs in a customer service field, then you are more than welcome to attend Career Connections. The next and final career fair that we have is the Nonprofit Criminal Justice Government Career Fair. It's going to be on Wednesday, November 1st from 2 to 5 in the SU Ballroom. The industries that are going to be there are counseling, human services, government, social justice, etc. Also, keep in mind that if you're interested in all of these industries, you'll be more than welcome to go to all of the career fairs and explore what different positions and opportunities are available to you. So the next thing we're going to talk about is how you can prepare for the career fairs. The first thing you want to do is to make sure that you are writing down the dates and times of the career fairs in your calendar so that you're aware of when they are and you don't miss these important dates. The next thing you want to do is think about when your classes are going to be, and if you have class during the fair, you want to find out if there's a way that you can work around it. So maybe that means coming to see some employers before your class and some employers after your class. Or it may mean talking to your professor now to see if there's a way that you can attend the fair and miss a part of the class, depending on what your professor is okay with. So you want to start those conversations now so that they aren't happening a day or two before the fair. The next thing I would encourage you to do is start preparing your resume. And the first way you can do that is to email your resume to resumehelp@nku.edu. This will allow someone from our office to review it and give you some helpful feedback. So no matter what stage your resume is currently in, whether you have one and you think it's really good, or you have one but you've just thrown down a bunch of stuff on a page and are hoping for the best. Our staff can review it and give you feedback that you need in order to make sure that your resume is as up-to-date as possible and showcasing the information that you want to show to employers. After those reviews have been made and you've been sent your updates, you want to make sure that you're making the needed corrections on your resume so that, again, it's as up-to-date and error-free as possible. And then finally, I would encourage you to print multiple copies of your resume. Specifically, I would consider and encourage you to print at least 10 more than you think you're going to need, because you never know who you're going to run into at the career fair. You might plan on meeting 3 employers but you end up talking to 6 or 7. And so you want to make sure that you have resumes prepared for everybody. Finally, you may want to plan to bring a folder, binder, or portfolio to keep your resumes in, so that throughout the fair they're looking crisp and they're not getting damaged as you're walking around the fair. The next thing you want to do in preparation for the career fair is start a self-reflection process. And to start, I would encourage you to think about the different positions you're seeking. So the first thing you want to ask yourself is, am I looking for more co-ops and internships? Or am I in the stage of my job search when I need to start looking a full-time job? This would give you a better idea of which employers you need to be talking to at the career fair and which positions you need to be asking them questions about. The next thing you need to start thinking about is the location. Do you want to stay more in the greater Cincinnati area, or are you open to relocating? Again, this will give you a better idea of which employers you need to be talking to at the career fair, as there may be somebody that's outside the greater Cincinnati area that attends the fair. The next thing you need to do in self-reflection is start assessing the skills that you have, specifically the skills that may be related to the positions and industries that you're interested in working for. As you are identifying these skills, you also want to start thinking about experiences and examples that illustrate how you've used each of these skills. So you can talk about it to the employers and you show them how those skills can translate to the positions you're interested in that they have to offer. So, for instance, if I were going to career fair, I was interested in talking to an employer that really needed a presentation skill for the position that I'm interested in. I would want to show them that I have experience leading Zoom workshops so that I can tell them about it during the actual fair. The next thing you want to do in preparation for the career fair is download the Handshake app. This app allows you to view a list of the employers and see what positions they have available. So, keep in mind that if you can't download the app on your phone, there's also a web version that's available to you that you can access through the NKU website. So, we're going to take a look at the app itself. Keep in mind that this is how it would appear on your phone if you were using the app. So if you're using the web version, it may look a little bit different. But to start, you want to click the events button and then choose career fairs so that you can see what fairs are available. And once you've done that, you'll see the Meet the Firms, STEM Health, Career Connections, and Nonprofit Criminal Justice Government Career Fairs available on the next page. From there, you can click on whichever fair you're interested in attending. So for instance, if you click on the Career Connections Fair, you'll see some more information about it. It'll have information about the fair itself, where it is, when's the time, and when it's going to be. Once you've chosen the event, there is the employers page. And so from there, you can see a list of all of the employers. From there, you can scroll down the list to see who's going to be attending the fair. You can also click on the specific employer. So maybe if you're interested in going to talking to 3CDC, you can click on them and you can read the description of their organization. If you scroll down, you'll be able to see what positions they are available that they have, as well as what majors they are looking at. Also, on this employers page, you can narrow down the options by using the filter option. From there, you can choose to filter by the job types, employment types, hiring new major, etc. But keep in mind that when you're choosing hiring my major, some companies that have listed that they wanted to hire all majors might not appear here. You can also favorite an employer by clicking follow if this is somebody you really want to talk during the career fair. After that, you can click favorites so that you have that information available to you during the day of the fair. You can also make a note about them, so if you have any specific questions about the organization or the different positions that they have available, Or maybe you want to talk to them about a specific position. You can make notes there for the day of the fair as well. There's also a career fair map option, which closer to the day of the fair will give you an image of where the different employers are going to be set up during the actual fair in the SU ballroom. And so if you want to plan accordingly to see where the different employers you're interested in talking to, you can look at the map option closer to the date of the fair. So you can have information about the employers that are going to be there through the Handshake app, which we just talked about. But you can also research the organizations you plan to talk with on Handshake, their company's website, as well as LinkedIn, and many other sources, so that you can start knowing more information about their products, their services, their clients, as well as their customers, so that you're able to talk to the employers about their organization during the day of the fair. So as you're viewing the different employer list of the fair, you want to start considering who you are going to talk with. You may want to start making a list of the different employers as well as the positions for those employers that you're interested in talking about. And then you also want to start thinking about how much time you're going to allot to attend the fair, so that you can talk with all the employers. So let's say you are looking through one of the fairs and you notice that there are 5 employers that you want to talk to, and you want to plan on trying to talk to them for about 5 minutes. Then you know it's going to take you about 25 minutes just to talk with employers. This is not counting the check-in time as well as the time it takes you to walk between them or make notes about them. And so you want to plan accordingly during the day of the fair. The next thing, you want to make sure that you are developing questions to ask the employers. This is really important, and you can start thinking about different questions to ask them by reviewing the job description as well as research the company. So by doing this, you are demonstrating your interest and enthusiasm in both the organization itself as well as the positions that they have available to you. And then this will also help you determine if the position as well as the company are things that you want to further consider in your job search. And so maybe you're talking to an employer about a specific position, and in that conversation, you realize that the position isn't exactly what you thought it was going to be. And so maybe you know that there's a different position, the others that you would want to know or learn more about and apply for. And so maybe you're talking to a company, you didn't know a whole lot about them, but during your conversation, you realize that this is a company that you really want to work for. So you start asking them more questions about the positions that they have available and start considering them further for job search. Either way, whether you still want to consider a position or an employer or not, being able to develop those good questions will help you to make that decision going forward. So some possible questions you may want to ask the employers are: what advice would you offer to someone who wants to work for your organization? What qualifications are you seeking in co-ops, new hires? Or how can I receive further consideration for the positions you have described? Keep in mind that these are just 3 questions that we recommended. There are tons of other questions that you could ask an employer, and if you need help looking for some, our office has some prompt questions available to you on our website that you can explore further as well. The next thing you want to do in preparation for the career fair is you want to start practicing your interviewing skills. If you practice nothing else whenever it comes to your interviewing skills, you want to make sure that you're practicing your elevator speech or the tell me about yourself question. These are essentially the same thing, and it gives an employer a little bit of information about you and what you're interested in. So it's really important that you have a good elevator speech that you can give to an employer so that they know more information about you. If you need help with this, you can schedule a mock career fair conversation with our office, and we would be more than happy to help you practice these skills. You can also practice with a friend, but if you do choose to practice with a friend, you want to make sure that it's a friend that's going to give you a good, honest, and constructive feedback so that you know what things you need to work on in order to be successful during the fair. Also, keep in mind that while these conversations with employers are not interviews, it's still important that you're practicing these skills because it will help you become more comfortable with talking about yourself to an employer. The next thing you want to do in preparation for the career fair is plan out your look. So you want to start considering what you're going to wear so that you aren't trying to scramble 2 days before finding things that are going to work for the career fair. Keep in mind that often a suit jacket in a neutral color is best option because it appears the most professional, but a business casual look would also be acceptable for a career fair. What you don't want to do is wear a t-shirt, sweatshirt, or workout attire to the fair because this is often the first impression that an employer is going to get of you as a potential candidate. And so you want to make sure that you're appearing professional to them and you're leaving a good mark. You also want to think about how you're going to accessorize and in doing what you want to make sure that you avoid anything that could become distracting for either yourself or the person that you're talking to. During the day of the actual fair, we have a couple more things to consider. So first, we're going to talk about some tips. So first, you want to make sure that you're well rested and not hungry. During the actual fair, you don't want to appear really tired and drained of energy. You want to make sure that you're putting forth your best self whenever you are talking to employers. So you want to make sure that you're not tired and that you're well rested. Whenever it comes to not being hungry, we've all been in classes where somebody's stomach grumbles in the middle of the class, and it can be really distracting. And so if you don't want to get distracted in the middle of your conversation by your stomach grumbling, you want to make sure that you're not hungry. Next, you want to make sure that you are allowing plenty of time to get ready so you're not feeling rushed. And so you want to make sure that you have plenty of time to not only get dressed and accessorize, but also to grab everything you need so that you don't forget anything in your scramble to get ready and go to NKU for the fair. You also want to make sure that you bring your resume so that you have those to hand out to employers as well as your all card. So your all card is very important that it helps you check in a little bit faster during the day of the fair. However, if you don't have your all card or you've lost it, you can still attend the fair. It just may take a minute or two longer because we'd have to type in your NKU username as opposed to just swiping your all card. You also want to make sure that you silence your cell phone or anything else that can become distracting so that you're not tempted to look at it or engage in any conversations on your phone in the middle of the career fair. And then finally, keep in mind that it's okay to take breaks in the hallways as needed. So how the career fair works itself, you may start arriving in the SU ballroom between 2 to 5. When you arrive, you're going to want to follow the different signs that tell you where to check in for the event, which leads us to the next step, which is checking into the event. Again, you want to have your all card ready so that the process can be faster. But again, if you don't have that, it's still okay. From there, you will be given a name tag that has your name as well as possibly your major so that employers are able to identify you. The next step is actually talking with employers. So to do that, you're going to start by introducing yourself. This is where you may throw in your elevator pitch or the tell me about yourself answer. Next, you're going to ask questions to employers. Try and ask them questions about their role, their organizations, as well as the positions that they have available. Then, you're going to want to provide a copy of your resume to them if that's something that they're really wanting from you, and so that they had that information about you. And then you want to leave off by asking about the next steps in regards to the positions that you're interested in, or how you can follow up with them. Keep in mind that this is kind of a generalized way of talking to employers, so each employer may look a little bit different on the day of the actual fair. So, some tips for talking with employers. You want to make sure that in your conversation, you're expressing your interest in the career opportunities that they have. And while they're giving you the responses, you also want to make sure that you're listening carefully to both their responses and their instructions so that they can see that you're a good listener. But it also ensures that you're not missing out on good information that they're giving out to you, such as maybe their next steps and their answers to the questions that you may ask. You also want to make sure that you're noting the name of the representative you speak with so that if you have any follow-up questions, you are able to contact them. Or if in further consideration they ask you who you talked to about that position, you can note their name. Going into the hallway to make notes about the employers as well, as we already talked about it, is also a good way for you to take a break and to make any notes about the conversation, such as answers to your questions or the next steps, so that they're fresh on your mind and you're not worried about forgetting them and getting your information mixed up as you talk to multiple employers. And then finally, you want to consider talking with employers who are not in your top tier list. And so there are a couple of reasons you might want to do this. The first is to break the ice with an employer you're not super interested in so that you kind of get familiar with the process and ease some of the nerves that may come with talking to employers. Another reason is just to see what types of positions they have available. My boss tells a story about a student who actually came to the career fair, and while they actually were waiting in line to talk to a larger organization, they actually decided to talk to another organization, an employer that was not in their top tier list. And through that conversation, they really hit it off and ended up being hired for the position in their human resources department, and later on became a manager for that organization. So, by talking to employers that are not in your top list or that you plan on talking to, you may explore different opportunities that you didn't realize were available to you. So, following the career fair, there are a couple of things you also want to do. The first thing is to think about how you did at the fair. You may want to consider what went well and what areas you may be able to improve on. So for me, I may go into the hallway once the career fair is done, and I may think over all of the conversations that I had and ask myself what questions did they ask me that I feel like I need to work on preparing for the next time that I go to a career fair. Or what questions do I think I did really well asking? Or what things did I do really well in that conversation that I should continue to do it in the future? Again, next time, if you go to the next career fair, you kind of have that information prepared and ready to talk about. The next thing you want to do is complete any follow-up steps provided by employer, such as applying online or emailing them a copy of your resume. While emailing them, you also may want to send a thank you email to the employer, which again is another good reason to note the name of the person that you talk to, so that in your conversation, you can thank them and show that you were appreciative of their time in the conversation that you all had. This also notes your excitement about the opportunities that the two of you discussed, or so that they can see that you are really interested in that position that you've talked about. And then finally, if you felt like you and the employer connected really well, you may want to consider connecting with them further on LinkedIn, so that you can use that to further your network and your job search process and your job search in general. So again, here's the list of all of the different fairs that we have coming up and we're looking forward to seeing you there. Thank you for your time, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.